This NFL Survivor and Derek Stevens edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also ready about the college football experience. Get ready for the college football season by checking out all 131 college football team previews. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB.
Hey, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circa Las Vegas. You're listening to FGPN. Let it ride.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Ah man, Survivor. Just gonna. There's nothing better than a Survivor pool until you lose, and then it's annoying. You don't want to talk about it. You don't even want to acknowledge that it exists.
Yeah, it is. It's fun till it's not fun, and it's usually not fun once you lose. But hey, we are.
We just made it fun, because
we just cracked the code.
Stay tuned to the end. We have the winner.
Yes. So here's what we got. We got our annual check-in with Derek Stevens. That we just taped that interview.
Wellness check.
Wellness check. He's doing well. The contests are doing well. We talked Circa Million, Circa Survivor, and then we were joined by Munaf Manji. We talked big picture NFL strategy, and of course, well, you got to put pen to paper and actually walk through and crack the NFL Survivor contest.
We also, Derek also brings you an opportunity to hang out with Brian Urlacher. So
yeah, a lot to get to on this episode. Before we get going, listen to those trumpets, player. The NFL season is upon us, and you got to head over to WinBet, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Get down over there. Bet $100, get a $100 free bet. You're grinding out baseball. They got great prices over there, but NFL college football week 0. We just take our college football week 0 picks podcast using all the betting lines you can get over at WinBet. That's right. 100% deposit bonus if you're dabbling with the WinBet casino.
Yes, sir.
They also got their first quarterback to throw for 5 touchdowns. Prop bets going as well. So much action happening over at WinBet. Again, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET, so they know we sent you. Bet big, win bigger with WinBet. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. And hey, we're also brought to you by Run Your Pool. That's right. We are dedicating this episode to NFL Survivor, and we're throwing our own free NFL Survivor contest, courtesy of our good buddies over at Run Your Pool. Sign up today, and you got a chance to win $500 cash and a $250 gift certificate to the SGPN merch store. All you got to do is head over to play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. And hey, after you sign up over there, getting your free contest, use Run Your Pool to run all your contests this year. Pick'em, Survivor, fantasy pools. Again, I've been using Run Your Pool for years and years right now. It is honestly the best customizable pool product on the market. Fully customizable. You don't get it anywhere else. So again, head over to play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGPN to hop into our pool. Joining us on the line, he is the owner and CEO of Circa Resorts and Casino, and of course, Circa Sports, Mr. Derek Stevens. What's happening, Derek?
Hey guys, good to see you again. Good to talk to you. And it's starting to feel like a time for football right now.
Oh man, this is it's those couple weeks leading up to Christmas, right? You're just your optimism is sky high. Your team's gonna go all the way. I was just thinking. I was looking at Circa Survivor, and I'm going in my head. Do I try and get the 7 million by not using the Rams or the Bengals?
Yes.
I was doing the math in there. So yeah, it's optimism sky high right now. It's awesome.
That's right. When you guys are out, you have to get one of these so you carry around with you. I've been carrying this thing around with me for about a month now. You got to know the schedule. You got to know the schedule. So, but I know what you mean. You know, always worried about that. So I've been trying to get through it. I mean, every night at the bar, everybody's asking me a question about week 7, week 8. Where are you going to go? What would you do? And yeah, a lot of people are thinking about the same thing you are.
And I got to be honest. Now I think the word overlay. I hear it,
yeah.
it. It reminds me of the beginning of football. I then put the word away, and then what happens every summer? Well, what's the Circa promotion? What's the guarantee, Derek? Because the overlay is absolutely phenomenal right now.
I'm on the website circasports.com right now, and I'm looking and they $4.215 million.
What are you doing, Derek? What are you doing
in overlay right now for the Circa Millions? Derek, are you getting a little nervous here about this massive overlay?
Oh yeah, we got a sweat going. We've got a sweat going like we've never had before. I mean, you know, last year we guaranteed the 6 million in Circa Survivor, and we only guaranteed 4 million in the Circa Millions, and that's the one we bumped up to bump that to 6 million. So between the two this year, it's $12 million, and yeah, we're pacing okay. We're pacing okay, but yeah, we got a pretty good sweat going. I think the way I look at it right now is I think you're going to get a lot of positive EV in the millions. I think that's where you're going to get the overlay this year. Last year you got the overlay in the Circa Survivor, but I think because we bumped the millions so much, I think that's the one where you're going to get some positive EV going into the season.
Yeah.
Well, we will be there in less than 2 weeks.
Yep.
From tonight, signing up ourselves. So we'll participate in hopefully eating away at that overlay. So you're not having to sweat too hard.
And if you don't know, obviously it's $1,000 to enter for the million, 3 entries max, 5 picks against the spread each week in the NFL, and then $1 million first prize, but then $3.5 million in prizes 2 through 100. This is also really cool. 300,000 in quarter prizes. So again, maybe you start off rough. You're not gonna win the first prize, but you can still get hot in that quarter and take it home.
And you're forgetting the best part.
Oh yeah,
Go
for it, Ryan.
No, there's a payout for the worst.
Yes, last place booby prize. Which I assume you would have to submit all your picks for the week, but $100,000 for last place.
Sean, you're being humble because Derek, we were going for this last year. We were dangerously close to the point where we had the conversation. Should we start going against all of our picks?
Yeah. But then it's like, how do you even do that? Like we had just been cold there in the contest. And then we unfortunately for us got hot that last month and closed out with like a respectable record, but
we were within 2.5 games of the booby prize at one point.
We were in the mix, Derek. Again, now I know the winner gets a first place jacket. Do you have a jacket for last place?
Well, you know, the booby prize is highly coveted just as well. You know, it's just as difficult to go 65 and 25 as it is to go 25 and 65. So, you know, we have not developed that jacket, but I would tend to believe that, some of the listeners on Sports Gambling Podcast would be able to come up with some creativity of what we could give out.
All right. I like that. That's a good,
I'm just seeing something with Zeke Elliott's face on it.
Yeah. we can get creative, come up with something there. And, and Circa Survivor as well. Obviously, as you would imagine, one team per week can't reuse the team, and then it ends up being 20 picks because 18 regular season NFL games, and then you have to do a Survivor for Thanksgiving Day and one for Christmas. That's where it really, I mean, you want
innovative.
That is a nice twist on the game itself, and then I think that's obviously where the strategy comes in because. You got to start almost with Thanksgiving and Christmas. Pick your teams you like there, keep them off to the side because you don't want to be stuck in a spot where you get to Thanksgiving or Christmas and you're totally screwed.
Yeah, I mean, you got it exactly right. You really got to take a look at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And if you remember last year, it looked like the easy game on Thanksgiving was going to be Dallas home versus the Redskins. And all of a sudden, Dallas wasn't the team, and then next thing you know, they're not even going off as a favorite. So when you look at it, you really gotta save a few teams because there may be a quarterback injury. There may be, a team that just underperforms. Things could change. When you look at this year at Thanksgiving, obviously, you got the two home teams every year, Dallas and Detroit. But then on the road teams, are you going to use Buffalo on the road at Detroit? I mean,
yes.
I think the answer would be yes, but you never know what's going to happen here. If something happens to Josh Allen, and all of a sudden this Lions team with this hard knocks bump comes out, they're, you never know. So you got to save a few of those Thanksgiving teams for sure when you're mapping out your strategies.
Well, I was just checking in on your Twitter before the interview, and I had to retweet it because I was laughing my ass off when I saw it as well. Deuce Staley, where he's trying to chew out his guys on Hard Knocks, and he's got no voice. He's like, "That's not what we play for. That's not the kind of team we are." It's been now. I know you're a Michigan guy. You got to be enjoying this season of Hard Knocks. Deuce is a great character.
I love Hard Knocks. Dan Campbell's a great character. Deuce Staley, Aaron Glenn, and then obviously with Aiden Hutchinson as the young kid coming in. But last night I got to admit that was the best 18 F-bomb speech in 15 seconds I've ever seen. Deuce Staley was amazing, and they really played it up because earlier in the show, he's, I'm losing my voice. I'm screaming too much. And then when he had to go and do that, that was the scene of the season, I thought.
Yeah, he was not going to not do he was not going to not curse his guys out, even though he knew he sounded like an idiot. I don't know how the running backs kept a straight face. They're like Jamal Williams, just like, biting his lip. Cause how could you not laugh if Deuce Staley is yelling in this high pitched voice?
I might want to transcribe that, turn it into a poster in my office.
A little motivational poster. Yeah. Hey, and sign up weekend is this weekend. Pretty cool. You guys have a whole, if you're coming to Vegas or if you're locally in Vegas, this weekend is a great weekend to sign up. They got some events on Friday night, cocktail party, meet and greet, Derek Stevens, Mike Palm, Circa team at Bar Canada. And then this Saturday, the 27th, you have open bar at Stadium Swim, 10 to 3, and then the Circa football preview. You got Mike Palm, Chris Bennett, Adam Chernoff, Mike Lombardi. Got a bunch of big names heading over there. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got Sean King, one of the VSiN personalities, former Super Bowl winner with the Buccaneers. We got Brian Urlacher coming over.
Oh hell yeah!
A free event from 4:00 till 6:00 in our new ballroom here at Circa, and it's just first come, first serve. It's a free event, and everybody's going to talk about their 2022 football contest strategies, both for the Millions and for Survivor, and to talk about football in general on where they think things are going to be evolving to. I mean, one of the hot topics right now is what's going to go on with the amount of these PIs coming up. I mean, this is really impacting the totals. So there's a lot of interest on, will the NFL pull back on all these early PIs, or will this continue on? And if that happens, probably got a correlated parlay on week one of a lot of overs if they don't pull back on all these early PIs.
Well, and as guys in the preseason, especially week one, we've always liked to take a bunch of unders, and historically it's been pretty good. But now they throw in this this idea of like, hey, they're going to really look at these PIs.
It's never good when the refs have an area of focus.
Yeah, and sometimes they do it in preseason, then dial it back a little bit in the NFL, but. Derek is a guy. No, you're gonna have your tablet. You're gonna be sweating it out week one, looking at these totals. You guys got to be a little nervous as to where you're gonna have to set these week one totals. Or, I mean, obviously the lines are already out if you're gonna adjust them that much.
Yeah, we're probably more worried about the correlated parlay scenario.
Yeah.
So let's just say they come out and in every game you have twice as many or 3 times as many PIs as what you would in a regular season game last year. Well, all of a sudden, this opens the door to the book to one of these round robin of 3 and 4 teamers, an 8-team round robin of 4 teamers, because everything gets correlated. And if it doesn't happen, you also have value going on the underside. So we're a little bit more worried about that. But at the same point, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's the NFL. That's what's great about it, right?
Yeah, we
robust market.
We could be sitting here Sunday night after that week 1 talking about Tua's 5 touchdown performance.
Oh, no. If Tua throws for 5 touchdowns, I'm just gonna you can burn the studio down because it's gonna be it'll be a bad season. What about you, Derek? I mean, I know that's what's always great talking to you.
What's the sweat?
Not only are you behind the counter the business operations, but you're also a man who likes to watch the games. Got some takes. Who you liking? Let's go just week 1. Any surprise teams NFL week 1?
Well, I think the teams that are you're going to see a lot of action on. I think you're going to see the Indianapolis Colts as a team that's going to get a lot of action, and I think also you're going to see a team in week 1. It's going to be Baltimore. I think that's kind of where you're going to see, and that's on the Sunday. Clearly, on September 8th, the opening kickoff game. I mean, just a spectacular game having Josh Allen against Matthew Stafford, Bills Rams, an incredible kickoff game. So that's going to be a monster game as far as handle goes. But I think as far as the betting action goes, I think you're going to see Colts and you're going to see Rams, and we have not seen any buyback on the other side yet because these numbers just keep going up.
Well, that's because wait till we get into town because we love. I love the Texans and so does Kramer. Week 1 especially. Colts have lost 8 in a row. Week 1 games. Keep an eye on that. It's division home dog. You got to be worried. I mean, as football bettors, you got to be worried. And I guarantee you, there are assuming the Texans pull out the upset there are going to be a lot of people who lose their Circa Survivor on that very game because I could see. It's an interesting. I was talking to Kramer like, hey, let's start thinking about week 1. And week 1, all the big spreads are road favorites, which is really a little scary, especially week 1, and especially in these division matchups.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of people that use this rule of thumb. You're never going to take a road team in Survivor, and then when you see where the point spreads are in week 1, this is a uniquely difficult week 1 here.
Yeah, no. So in week 1, you want to get your bearings, you want to figure it out, and
that's why you put 2 entries in, and one of them you take the Texans.
Yeah. Well, you're exactly right. That's why I think we'll have a few more people this year that are using this option strategy where they're taking both sides of a game in week 1, live to week 2, and then effectively they're going to sacrifice one of their entries. Because there's a lot of thought that there's going to be quite a few people knocked out at week 1.
Yeah, that's interesting because you can have how many?
It's best case scenario. You don't have a situation where like the picks are going to be heavily consolidated because of this.
Yeah,
you do have a couple in Colts and Baltimore, but there are definitely an opportunity for there to be a lot of variance and thus more people leaving. Right? You don't just need that one big upset like Houston taking down the Colts.
No.
I think there's also people that are talking about using the option. If you think about it, to get through the whole season, you got to pick 20 winners to go undefeated. So when you think about it that way, you have to say, well, that means there's only 12 teams I can't take. So that's where there's a little bit of a strategy using that option strategy where people are looking at a Texans Jags game where it's a team that you would probably never take normally.
Yeah,
but you might use them in a week where you're going to sacrifice one to save the other, because then you've ended up using, like for example, if the Texans win, you will have used the Texans where no one else really would have. So it kind of gives you a little more flexibility as you work your way through the season.
It sounds like we just workshopped our first our week 1 pick into the Texans.
And there's certainly a good strategy. You mentioned Texans Jags. I think there is some game theory here where if you decide to burn an entry, do it where you have two bad teams going head to head, because in that case, then to Derek's point, you're using one of your picks on a crappy team. And so when you get to Thanksgiving, you get to Christmas, you have more options than probably the rest of the field.
The Thanksgiving card is just gross.
It is cool because normally in those, if we make it, and I think we were 1 week shy that week where it might have been 2 years ago where Dallas lost to the Redskins. We would have definitely taken the Redskins because we're Giants and Eagles fans, so we were looking to fade the Cowboys anyway. So that would have been that was really frustrating. We ended up losing that Ravens game in New England. Still remember it, but that's what's fun about this.
Heartbreaking.
Now I just saw the football preview weekend you guys are doing in the newly opened convention center. How's that been going? That thing looked pretty. I haven't seen it yet in person, but looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, we'll give you a tour when you get out here. Yeah. That's where we're going to hold our football preview here with Urlacher and Sean King and Mike Palm. And we're going to go start using it here this weekend. So we hope that we bring 500 people out for this football preview. So that's what we're hoping for, and it should be great this weekend.
Yeah, great weekend to go out there. And then again, if it's the first time ever doing it, you just need to show up in person, and there's a bunch of good proxies that will work with you and submit your picks every week. You need to sign up in person, but then other than that, you don't need to come back. We have a proxy we can recommend. I know there's plenty of good proxies out there, so
it sounds a lot scarier than it is.
No, it's very easy. You just and it's a couple $100.
Way easier than using a pager back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day to get your action in there. All right, so you got the Circa Million, Circa Survivor, and the football preview weekend looks really sweet as well. But what about you, Derek? If you had to pick like a week one upset that you think would come through, like a money line dog, who do you have your eye on?
If I had to take a money line dog, I would take the Lions.
Really? Okay.
I like the Lions at home coming off this preseason. I like the moves they made, and I think the move's been too strong on Philadelphia. If I had to take one team for the year,
upset team for the year,
I think has a lot of value. The team that I took, and I bet them around town. I bet them over on. I bet them would they make the playoffs. I bet them for the division. I bet them for the AFC, and I bet them for the Super Bowls. I do really like the Baltimore Ravens this year. I just think the value is there. I realize AFC is going to be tough with the Bills there, but I just think that the Ravens have something pretty unique. They also have an incredibly generous schedule. If you look at the Ravens schedule, if you ever compare the Ravens schedule to the Bengals schedule, oh my God, what a difference a first place versus a last place schedule plays into your following year.
Yeah, we're big on the Ravens as well.
I was gonna say, I love you picked the Ravens. I love that he picked against the Eagles. Appreciate checked all the
birds,
boxes,
Derek. We're super high on the Ravens as well. So we'll see what happens week one. We'll see what happens in the contest. And like we've always said, Derek, when we win, half of it in chips. So we'll looking forward to hanging out when next time we're out there. And hey, make sure you go to circasports.com. Follow Derek on Twitter at Derek J Stevens. Derek, appreciate the time, man.
Hey, I really want to tell you guys, it's been a few years. I got to follow you. I'm big fans of yours. And when you came out here, Stadium Swim, and then and watching the development of Circa, I just want to tell you guys, thanks a lot. Congratulations to you. Your viewing audience, I think everybody knows, is up 300% or so. And
it's been great.
I'm glad we got to be friends here over this, and you're a big part of how we grew our contest. And for that, I'm very thankful. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys out here in Vegas here in the next week or so.
Appreciate it, Derek. Always appreciate the hospitality, and good luck with the contest. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Always awesome talking to Derek Stevens. You know what else is awesome? Odds Trader. That's right. Odds Trader, your one-stop shop when it comes to gambling information and some of the best odds and promos from sportsbooks. Again, you've heard all these ads. Hey, sign up here, go here, get this bonus. Why? It's super convenient to have it all in one place. Odds Trader takes care of that. Plus, live scores, bet tracking, game stats, player stats, weather info. Anything you need is over at oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. ODDStrader.com/Blue Wire. Odds Trader, the #1 site for all your fantasy and gambling game day bets. Are also brought to you by Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform. Over 4 million people are playing fantasy on Sleeper, and those 4 million people are going to have an awesome opportunity this NFL season to get down on NFL player props with their new over/under game. You can combine them and win up to 20x your money, 2x all the way up to 20x. I've been doing it all baseball season long. It's super fun. And if you sign up, you can also join our Sleeper group chat. So you can copy our picks. You can chat with us in their little group chat thing as well. It's a lot of fun competing against your buddies or just copying their picks. If someone's on a heater, just copy. Sleeper.com/SGP. Go there, get 100% deposit match up to $100. Sleeper.com/SGP on your mobile phone. Get the 100% match up to $100. If you already have Sleeper, just click the over/under game. Use that promo code SGP. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Football season is here. You're going to need a ton of energy to sweat out all these games, make all these picks, listen to all our content. I don't know about you. I need a delicious cup of coffee to get the day going. Some iced coffee in the afternoon. It's my turn to Trade Coffee. Love it. It is delicious. Again, since we signed up with them, it just, when the Trade Coffee gets delivered in the mailbox, I'm sorry. That is an incredibly loud slurp. What are you doing over there, Ryan?
I was just drinking my my beautifully dark roasted with notes of berry.
Yeah, it's cool because you take the quiz, and Ryan, as you know, big fruit guy, loves berries, likes drinking berries. Whatever kind of coffee flavors you like, they can dial it in. They can give you a custom coffee concoction.
It was very again. I hate to keep coming back to it, but the experience of filling out the survey.
Yeah,
this sounds silly. It was very personal. I enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed it.
And you're talking about personal. What about $30 off your first order plus free shipping? All you got to do is go to drinktrade.com/SGP. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free. Get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/SGP and let Trade find you a coffee that you'll love. Drinktrade.com/SGP for $30 off. All right. Joining us on the line to talk NFL Survivor. You know him from the newly launched NFL Gambling Podcast, the MLB Gambling Podcast, NBA Gambling Podcast. He is the man, the myth, the machine, Munaf Manji. What's up, Munaf?
What's going on, guys? Busy times. Like you guys said, NFL Gambling Podcast. Really excited about that on the newest pod on the network. MLBs, we're cranking it out every day, guys. We're grinding on the diamond, and then me and Scott just finished recording NBA pod as well for Western Conference win total. So yeah, I love it, man. I love it.
I was gonna say, Sean, I was just as I do, I troll around the network from time to time, and I was like, holy shit! Not only do we have NFL preview content, we have college basketball preview content,
yes,
college football preview content, NBA preview content, and wait for it, hockey. The hockey gambling podcast boys are back too. It's unbelievable.
I know. Every once in a while, I got to take a step back and go, "Holy crap!" If you literally anything you want to bet on, we got a podcast.
Did you know we have an MLS show?
Yes, I did.
Just checking. New segment is did Sean know we have?
Oh, please do not quiz me on the network. All I know is it's doing great, and I love my guys. But hey, speaking of that, Munaf, we just had Derek Stevens on. Yeah. Of course, Circa Survivor is coming. Circa Millions as well. Their pick'em contests. Did you do Circa Survivor last year?
I did last year. I wasn't very good last year.
How far did you get?
I got to week, I believe it was either 8 or 9 where I lost. But I think prior to that was my actually first time doing the Circa Survivor contest, or actually a Survivor contest in Vegas. But I've done a couple, with just like friends and the ones that I kind of do on my own, where I did actually win one, and then got to week 16 in another, and I got knocked out. But I will say this, it's a lot more fun to do than some of the other, like the spread contests, like, the ones Circa Millions at at Circa, and then the other ones around town in Vegas. But Survivors, there's a completely different strategy, and I know we'll get into that in a bit.
So
but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're gonna talk strategy, and then we'll try and put out a perfect NFL Survivor. We're going to put out a NFL Survivor, walk through the entire
Sean, I went back
grid.
Last year. We gave out a winning. We just didn't listen to ourselves and take the Texans week 1.
Yes,
last year. That was the problem.
I told you guys.
No, Kramer and I got soft last minute. We got weak in the knees. Did not give out the Texans.
I dare you to go back and listen to us talk about how to win the Survivor pool last year. It's a winning entry. We just didn't listen to ourselves.
We got it. That's our biggest mistake. Not listening to ourselves.
25% of the pool was done after that game.
Yeah. And we just hit on it with Derek. Week 1 is going to be a challenge, I think, or at least interesting, because a lot of the biggest spreads are road favorites, which usually in a Survivor contest, buyer beware.
That's my first rule. Play home teams.
Yeah.
Like it's a boomer take. It is
boomer.
It's probably more useful to have that take 5 years ago than now. But why put yourself in a higher stress situation? Don't take a road team unless you have to. Week 1 of the NFL season, it does feel like we've been presented a situation where we might have to.
Well, and as far as like road or home team, you would imagine if the road team is so good that they would warrant taking them on the road. You're better off trying to save them for a spot at home.
Exactly.
And we're going to get into it. Obviously, it adds the Christmas and Thanksgiving games add another level of strategy, because I do think for the particular contest with Circa, you start with Thanksgiving and Christmas, find some of those teams, put them off to the side, and then kind of go start your analysis with the team pools. But what are some overall big picture takes we should be looking for, Munaf, when it comes to playing this Survivor contest or any?
Let me get my pen so I can take notes.
No, I mean, you just mentioned the first thing right there. Like, if you are doing the Circa Survivor contest, is that their contest has different twists where Thanksgiving and Christmas are really their own weeks, right? So you probably want to take those teams and put them off to the side. But if you're in a regular, office pool and things like that, I think, we talk a lot about game theory as well, whether it's with betting. I think you can apply that to, the Survivor contest here as well. And I think the number one big picture thing for I think a lot of people need to understand is that when you're doing these Survivor pools, it's not that you're trying to survive from week to week, right? A lot of people are saying, oh, let me, take let's say throw out the Denver Broncos week 1, and pick on and pick them, and I'll worry about the rest later. You really kind of have to map it out for the entire season, and you got to find those spots early on. I think you just brought up the Texans, where last year that was probably a prime spot for you to use them, because you're probably not going to use them for the rest of the year, and that your portfolio or the teams that you kind of have remaining at that point, their value kind of just goes up, because number one, Texans are gone. You'd want them with them. Now you still have, 16 other teams that you can still pick from that are going to be really good, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so I think, again, for Survivor, you have to recognize that Survivor pool is a zero-sum game. So, if you're just trying to survive early, to your point of just like, hey, just survive these first 4 weeks, you're going to burn through good teams, and you're going to be in a position where it's like, you should have just rolled the dice early, or at least been a little bit more aggressive, because that's what you need to actually get to the end. Now, maybe
shoot, bro.
If you're in a small,
only 3 spreads greater than 3 points.
It's going to be
for home teams.
Week 1's going to be interesting, and for depending on the pool size. Obviously, Circa Survivor, thousands of entries. You really need to factor this in. If you're in like a home league where maybe there's 20 people, you can be a little less aggressive, I think. But
Sean, know your competition, right?
Yeah.
If you're playing against, it's DFS, whatever strategy, poker, right? If you're playing against thousands of people, if you're playing against a massive multiplier, you can't play conservative, because you're just going to play to advance to the week 15 and not win the money, or you're going to play to tie a whole bunch of people, right? You're going to create no ceiling in your available teams, and so. Yeah, I mean, we keep saying the same things, but it's no different than NFL Sunday. You want to be on some of the ugly dogs. You want to find a path to taking some gross teams, because no one's going to take the gross teams. Derek definitely touched on this, right? Like if say you're going to take the Texans week 1 as a +9 home underdog, That would be silly, right?
Or would it?
Or
Ryan?
would it?
Well, and again, because you not only all the people that took the Colts, they are knocked out, but then also you already used the Texans and you put yourself in a good spot.
You burn a team that most people weren't going to take anyway.
Yeah, it's funny how many. I was looking back at some of the like big games where survivors. It's funny how many times the Jags were involved in like just destroying people's survivor spots. I mean, I remember opening week a couple years back, the Colts lost in Jacksonville outright. They
were like 8-point favorite, 9-point favorite in that game too. Huh?
In 2017, 37% of the entries were eliminated when the Steelers lost to the Jags. This one, I remember 2020, there were two big ones.
Jags are like a who's who of no one likes them ever.
Yeah. 29% of the public was eliminated in 2020 when Minnesota lost to Dallas in week 11, and 24% were eliminated by the Rams loss to the Jets in week 15. So there are these, and again, it's kind of similar in when we try and find these upset specials, these dogs that the ugly dogs that the public doesn't want to touch. Those are going to be spots where it's pretty fun to take them. Now, Munaf, like strategy wise, do you start? I maybe this is just a very obvious question, but do you start from the beginning and work your way to the end, or do you start from the end and work your way back to week one? I think there's something interesting about doing it that way, because then you're like, I don't know, you're already building in saving your best teams for last. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, and I think that when you're kind of looking at it, when you're talking about at the end of the season there, Sean, is that we also kind of have to keep in mind is that a lot of teams are teams that have won their division. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a great example, is that they'll sit their starters for that week 17 or week 18 game now, that because they have nothing really to play for. But I think that, there is something to that. And then, there are divisions, we could throw out just a random division. Like we talked about the NFC a lot, that it might be a division that kind of comes down to the last week as well. Well, let's just say the Eagles are at home against a porous opponent that you probably want to pick them to win that game because they win that division, because that motivation factor is going to be there for them. But I think another key thing that Ryan just said there is knowing your pool.
Yeah.
Right. And it's about, if they're going to be making these chalky picks every single week, that you probably don't want to be on that team, because if 90% or 80 or 90% of your pool is picking the Bills for week one, you probably want to stay away from them, because hey, there is a factor that they may lose, and automatic you're looking really good for the rest of the season, where maybe 70-80% of your pool has already been eliminated because they made a very chalky pick, especially early on.
And week to week, I guarantee this season will someone a number of places probably will be presenting ownership percentages around major contests like this. So you'll see, and maybe that's something you can hear on the NFL gambling podcast, because I think week to week you have to sprinkle in that DFS approach, right? Like Sean's right. You have to have some idea of where you're going to go season long, but things do change in the NFL. So there is that, the further away you get, the less certain you are of the result. All of that being said, it's almost like you have to come up with your pools of teams that suck, and making sure that you have enough suck teams in fade positions in each week to ensure that you can make it to the end of the season. So I don't know if I totally agree with your going backwards theory. I think it's more like the way that I would suggest we go through the exercise is we're going to do a Circa one. So you do have to address the holiday weeks.
Yeah. No, I think we start from the beginning. I was just in my head.
No, but after that, I think before we start, we have to identify the teams, like not the teams we like to play on, but the teams we fade, because you can fade a team multiple times. You can only play a team once. And so
that's a good point.
Creating a deep enough pool of teams we can consistently say, yeah, we're going to fade this. And especially teams you think are going to get worse, teams that might be more certain fades later in the season due to say coaching or quarterback variance.
Well, and Munaf had a great point where, maybe you try and save the best teams towards the end, but how that might backfire because maybe they're resting some starters. And, a couple great examples from week 18 last year, the Packers lost to the Lions 37-30. So you could, if you looked at the 2021 schedule, you're like, oh, I'll save the Packers for the end. Or again, once again, the Jaguars. Imagine you were saving the Colts for this game at the Jaguars, and then the Jaguars lose outright, or the Jaguars lose, beat the Colts, and almost. Oh God, Ryan, I get so pissed anytime we talk about this week because we put a decent sized money line parlay on Jags Texans money line.
Holy Lord!
And the Titans beat them by 3 points. The Texans were alive in that game.
If people were smart, sorry to interrupt you, Sean, but if people were smart, they would know that Indy hasn't won in Jacksonville, I think, since like 2015. So there's something to it.
So there's a lot of games there at the end of the year that you would think, if you looked at the beginning, you're like, oh, that's a layup, but ends up being a lot tougher or shaken out because of Green Bay is a great example. They're resting their starters, so you almost want some like middle of the road type teams. All right. Any other big strategy stuff we should hit on before we actually walk through this thing?
No, I think we covered most of it there between the three of us. I think it was some great starting points at least.
Yeah, like try to avoid being overly chalky because you gain nothing.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to be a little risky because if you're in a big, especially in a
no risk it, no
in
biscuit.
a GPP, at some point you're going to have to do something that's pretty contrarian.
Yeah.
And third, don't look at the whole grid. Like, don't be afraid if you're watching on YouTube. Don't be afraid to say have multiple schedule grids available to you at any time. I mean, Derek does his interviews with his schedule grid.
Oh, it's a giant.
Yeah,
it is.
He carries it around.
It's worth watching the interview on YouTube because he like goes off screen and unveils this thing that's like
it's crazy. We just gave you three things. If you follow, you won't be the first person out of your survivor pool. All right.
Before we get to that, shout out to Elias. That's right, Elias. You guys know the Elias Sports Bureau. Tons of great stats, tons of great nuggets. You're always hearing them cited. But now they have the Elias Game Plan app. It's the ultimate sports betting and fantasy companion for the NFL, NBA, and MLB. And besides being great for fantasy, for NFL, it's also just great for like random nuggets. I was digging around on there. I had no idea Jalen Hurts has a reception. He has one career reception for 3 yards, apparently 2 targets. Again, this is stuff that's just completely off my radar. There's a bunch of fun nuggets. And what's cool about Elias is all their stuff is handcrafted. Some apps, some places have just big data algorithms cranking it all out. Not Elias. This is a bunch of stat nerds. They lock them in a basement. And they say, get those spreadsheets going. We need artisanal handcrafted projections, trends, whatever kind of nuggets to help you win fantasy and gambling. And it's just a fun app to have. I'm firing it up every day as I get ready for the NFL season. The Elias Game Plan app. Hola, Ryan. Talk a little babble. Hola. Me encanta la piscina de sobrevivientes de la NFL. That I just said. I love NFL Survivor Pool. Now, stuff like that, again, it's fun to learn a new language. Babbel makes it super easy. Again, they have 15-minute lessons. It's great. It sets you on track. I mean, I hated Spanish class in high school because the teacher was really mean and would yell at me. She flipped my desk over one time, and it turns you off. But now, if you're traveling, I've been going out to Costa Rica a bunch. It's really cool to be able to interact with people in another language. Babbel has 14 different ones, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Hey, maybe even you're just you're traveling abroad, trying to talk to some ladies, show the effort. And certainly Babbel makes it very easy. They got speech recognition technology, helps improve your pronunciation and accent. I can always use help with that. So many easy ways to learn. They also have podcasts, games, videos, like stuff that it doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't even feel like you're learning, honestly. It just feels like you're having fun. Right now, you can save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/SGP. That's BABBEL.com/SGP for 60% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. All right, let's get to it. Let's win the NFL Survivor contest. All right, I got my sheet.
And remember, we're gonna know. How did I just lost something? Hold on. We're gonna know if you didn't copy us. when we win all by ourselves.
Now, according to the official rules, for the Circa Survivor, if everyone's eliminated at the same point, or if everyone makes it to the end, you split the pot.
Dead heat rules, right?
Yeah. And also they do have a rule there: no Rams, no Bengals picked. You get a $1 million bonus. But
so
we gonna try and get the bonus?
Of course, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna since we've already used the schedule grid, I'm gonna write on it, Sean, which I normally don't do on my schedule grids, but we're gonna cross off the Bengals and we're gonna cross off the Rams right off the bat. All right. Next step is who plays on Christmas. Who plays on? You have my grid. You have the holiday grid. You can't be playing blackjack right now.
All right. Christmas Day. We have. All right, hold on. This is hard
Jesus
to read,
Christ.
right?
All right.
I have it. You want me to say it?
Yeah, Munaf.
All right,
please.
so we got Green Bay at Miami.
Okay, so we're gonna put little trees next to those teams because we're not gonna play them.
You got Denver at the Rams, so you already crossed off the Rams. And then you got Tampa at Arizona.
Tampa. I mean, we've definitely taken some good teams out of the pool there.
Yep.
Thanksgiving. We got Bills at Lions, Giants at Cowboys, Patriots at Vikings.
We've taken a lot of teams out of the pool.
That's
What was the last game?
12 teams. Patriots at Vikings.
Patriots at Vikings.
Well, also I'm not opposed to making our picks here, and then and maybe set those
I think
aside.
you have to set them aside because shit happens. Last year would be a good example. Shit happens. I mean, obviously we would have been right anyway, but I think you want to save
Raiders beating the Cowboys.
Munaf, I'm curious on your take. I think you try to go through the exercise with these teams all protected, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, I mean, with Circa, they have their own weeks for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, I mean, if you burn through 6 of those teams, then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah,
at
so
that point.
I don't think we try to make a pick. I think you want all those teams available.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So, Sean,
yes.
With that being said, week 1, toughest week of this, arguably the toughest week of the season, especially when you take out some of the teams we've taken out.
Well, and especially if you look at I mean, we think the Texans are live dogs week 1.
I don't think so. I'll just say the Colts do own the Texans, so I would
any other week but week 1 they do.
Yeah. Colts
if we're picking the Texans, guys, week 13, we'll get to that.
No. We can save the Texans.
What I was going to say
I'm just pointing out that it's the biggest spread, and even we think they have a chance to win that game.
Okay, but all right, so before we even do that, I guess, what are the teams that we really like fade all year? Jets, Seahawks.
Jets, Seahawks. I mean, I'm throwing the Falcons in that pile.
Okay.
Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, especially now with
after the O-line.
Tyron Smith.
All right, so I've dotted the Jets, I've dotted the Falcons. I don't know if I agree with the Falcons, but they're pretty shallow. I will say that. The Cowboys, and are we putting the Texans there?
At least I would think so for week 1.
Jags. All right, now we can start picking. We have our suck teams.
I mean,
are the Commanders a suck team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jacksonville for week 1.
Jackson.
Ooh,
right.
That's bold, Moon.
I love that because that essentially. Oh, I love that.
I mean,
Doug Peterson against Carson, Commander Carson.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I guess I would just say
it's a road game.
We're using a good team with the Ravens against the Jets, and probably one of the chalkier plays, but.
Yeah,
that's a
40. I think that's probably gonna be the top pick.
Yeah, I don't like it because it's the top.
I think so.
All right, let's go contrarian. We'll go Jags.
It'll be that or San Francisco, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think Colts are going to be massive. I don't think people realize the Colts have lost 8 opening day games.
Well, yeah, you don't have to take the Texans to be against the Colts though, because we expect, like what I have written down here is I expect the Colts, I expect the Bengals. I expect the Niners. I expect what's the other big spread? What am I missing? There's one more game. Oh, the Ravens. I expect all those, like three of those games will be north of
you could also
25%.
You could also talk me into the Titans because I do think the Giants are a team to fade.
I think people are cautious on the Titans though. I think people are cautious on that team.
Or do we go? I like Jags, and I think that's probably the move. Or do we use the Chiefs? Use them early, fading the Cardinals.
But that's when the Cardinals are good.
Yeah, I don't know. Munaf, we sticking with the Jaguars?
I was gonna say Jaguars, or I would even consider the Panthers, guys.
Panthers is not a bad play.
All right, now we're talking. I actually love the Panthers here because
did you guys see that clip of Brissett saying it's not hard for him to not be Deshaun Watson?
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
Know when to come.
That was a great. I mean, he's a smart guy.
I love that play, Munaf, because Panthers also
They're at
like
home.
Christian McCaffrey's healthy.
They're healthy.
Baker Mayfield's going to be on top of his game. Yeah. Revenge spot. Yeah, I love it. Let's go Panthers.
Let's dial. All right, lock it in.
Yep.
All right, so we will be taking the Panthers week 1 hosting the Browns. All right, let's cross them off. Week 2. So again, I think once you get past week 1, what percentage of the field's out after week 1? 30%.
I mean, if just one of these upsets
one of those
hits.
dogs, that's we talk. Yeah, so one of those dogs comes through, and you're losing maybe a third of the field. Week 2, a little clearer to me. I'm curious who Munaf likes right off the bat here.
You gotta go Jacksonville, don't you? With the Colts coming to town.
That would be the absolute like onions contrarian way to fire it off. In terms of where are our suck teams playing, we have the Browns going home and getting the Jets. That's awfully interesting.
That's a great spot for the Browns
coming off a loss.
Yeah,
it's
either
so
that maybe San Francisco too.
That's in consideration. San Francisco coming home playing one of our suck teams in the Seahawks. I think Sean's gonna have a hard time pulling the trigger on the Niners all season, but this is a smash.
It is a good spot. I guess my only
Pete Carroll's ownership.
No, it's just like division game.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I mean, Jets, like, what's the motivation to win in Cleveland? I don't see it. And likely still Joe Flacco starting. I mean, Joe Flacco, we've talked about how bad he's looked on the road.
I think Cleveland's going to be a team we're going to like at home.
Yeah.
Betting wise.
I think Cleveland, I'm looking through the rest of the schedule. Cleveland, I think, is the way to go.
I mean, there's not many other opportunities where you're loving Cleveland as a team at home playing a bad team.
Yeah.
And so
what about Detroit?
It might be chalky. Detroit this week. I mean, we have them start as a potential Thanksgiving team, even though they are playing.
They're horrible
Bills.
at Thanksgiving.
Like they would be the one team I'd be like, all right, we can.
Are there any other home games for the Lions where they're playing
They have the Seahawks in a couple weeks, which is to me an interesting spot. They also have the Bears, obviously, at the end of the season, and who knows, things could have gotten really bad. They also play the Jags. The Lions have other games I think we could potentially fire on. I don't think the Browns do. I do think the Browns might be a chalkier play here, but let's. I say we lock it in.
Browns feels good there.
Okay, week 3. Sean.
Yep.
I again, instincts to go right to the suck. We do have a Chicago-Houston game, but going to the suck teams, the Bengals, we're not going to use them. They're playing the Jets. The Seahawks have the Falcons, so you have like kind of some suck team matchups. Falcons coming to town, so a little difficulty there. Maybe Munaf. Any team stand out to you week 3?
What about Cincinnati in New York? If we're going to keep fading,
well, we can't play Cincy because we're going for the bonus. We're getting all the money, Derek. We're coming for all the money.
I don't just, and maybe we're using them too early, but Chargers at home against the Jags. That to me is just that one's probably chalky.
You don't think there's gonna be a lot of Jags fans out there?
I would say Chargers, especially because it's not a division game. I also like Vikings at home against the Lions. I'm not super high on the Vikings, and it's a division game.
Man.
I don't mind also. Oh yeah, we want the extra million.
We want the extra. I my sheet's all dialed in. Don't worry. So what are we? It sounds like this might be a tougher week than we thought.
No, but I don't mind. I don't mind using the Chargers.
I think this would be
this is where we burn the Chargers. All right, I'm in. Week 4. As far as looking at suck teams, the Bears are in New York. This potentially a week to use the Giants. Just throwing that out there. We also have we aren't going to use the Cowboys. We have a Texan and Chargers. We already used. We have
Detroit. Did we use
Detroit? What's that?
Seattle. Seattle coming into Detroit week 4.
That's kind of interesting.
Detroit is at Thanksgiving. Another again.
Okay.
We probably wouldn't use them on Thanksgiving.
No.
So probably
they don't play well on Thanksgiving.
This is the
Cowboys
game.
don't.
This is the game to play them because I think they're going to struggle against teams that can play a shootout with them. I think they're not going to struggle against teams that can't score at all and that are just going to try to play 1970s ball. I hate taking the Lions, but this is when you would take them. Only other games that I would put out for serious consideration.
Eagles at home against the Jags.
Eagles at home against
Doug P. revenge game would be the only angle.
The Steelers have the Jets. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wouldn't mind using the Steelers.
So as far as other games, we would potentially roll the Steelers out for. They catch the Saints at home later in the season. Other than that, they catch the Browns at home the last week. Other than that, there's nothing really here. So I actually don't. I like this. I like taking the Steelers here.
Munaf,
I agree. 100%.
Let's go.
All right. So far we've faded the Browns, the Jets, and the Jags. We're doing it right so far. Week 5. We have, as far as the suck teams, Bears are in Minnesota. Panthers are in San Francisco. We have the Seattle Seahawks are in New Orleans. Ding, ding, ding. That might be the way to go. Munaf. Any other games stand out to you?
I'll throw this one out real quick. Broncos at home on a Thursday night against the Colts. I love fading a dome team.
So we have
Matt Ryan.
Denver's a Christmas game, right?
Christmas game.
Oh, that's
so we're trying to avoid. I mean, I like the spot. I agree.
No,
but if we're trying to do this true,
your Saints one jumped out at me. What about you, Munaf?
I think the Saints, because it's a big travel spot from Seattle down to NOLA, and then also what was the other one?
Giants. You were probably eyeing up the Giants one. The Jags have the Texans.
Who are the Giants playing?
Giants are hosting the Bears.
No, they're
that was week 4. I'm sorry. No, they're at the Bike. Wait,
they're playing the Packers in London.
Yeah, we're not playing that game. No
another team
international.
that's traveling cross country. I just went off my radar.
Miami is hosting the Jets. Are we just going
to?
I think Saints is probably the pick here, guys.
I'm sorry, you're right. Miami's in. Yeah. This is just highlighting other times we would consider playing the Saints. They have a home game against the Panthers week 17, a home game against the Falcons week 15. Those were both division games. This in my model, this is the you play them this week. I think this is the week we play. So we're firing on a Seahawks fade. Nice. We had the first time we faded the Seahawks all year. So I like that move. Week 6, Sean. Any games stand out to you week 6?
Week 6.
Suck teams. Seahawks are playing Arizona at home, so divisional. Jets are in Green Bay.
Green Bay's
they're a Christmas team. You're right. We have other suck. Texans are on a bye. Jags are in Indy. Division game, but
man, I just don't trust this Colts team. Ravens on the road in Baltimore. I guess it's a non-conference road spot.
Ravens on the road.
Ravens in New York.
You said Ravens on the road in Baltimore.
In New York.
You're going to confuse the audience.
Thursday night, Bears at home against the Commanders. I guess you guys are totally out on the Bears, but
no, I mean, look,
I don't think that's a good spot from them.
Yeah,
for them.
The Bears host. So the games you would consider
they
playing
probably
the Bears,
still don't have Chase Young.
They host the Dolphins later in the season. They host the Lions later in the season.
What about Arizona and Seattle?
It's divisional and it's a road game.
Okay.
I think Arizona's a Christmas team as well, but Arizona potentially gives you other opportunities as well. you have the Shanahan revenge spot in Atlanta.
I think that was the one that was sticking out to me. San Francisco would probably be this week. Rams are a spot, but we're not using the Rams because we're going for that extra million.
Yep. So you like San Francisco here, Munaf? I
would go either San Francisco or I even like the Colts hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I would circle back here. I think I like what Munaf just said about the Colts because the Colts don't really have any other. The only other spot we would consider taking them is versus the Texans week 18.
All right, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, and Colts would be there. They have the Thursday night game the week before, so they have extra rest.
Okay,
yeah, that's a good
angle.
All good points. So circling the Jags, week 7, Sean. Any games stand out to you here, Munaf?
Week 7.
We're running short on teams here. It feels like we've crossed off a lot of teams. We can so based on our rules and the teams we've used, we can no longer use the Cardinals, Bills, Panthers, Bengals, Browns, Cowboys, Broncos, Lions, Packers, Colts, Chargers, Rams, Dolphins.
I'll say
Vikings,
this: why not
Patriots?
I don't know.
Raiders,
Cowboys
hosting the Texans.
Ooh, that was on my list. There's a couple.
Cowboys are so bad on Thanksgiving. They're at home this week against the Lions.
I think that could be a sneaky spot for the Lions.
Watch out. I don't know if stop trying to break the rules, Sean.
Okay.
Jags are hosting the Giants.
Broncos at home against the Jets. What was it?
No, we're protecting the Broncos.
I would go Raiders personally.
All right. You can talk me in. Raiders at home against the Texans.
Or Patriots Monday Night Football against the Bears.
We're protecting the Patriots for
Christmas,
Thanksgiving. We're playing the Vikings.
All right, week 8. Who do we have left, Ryan?
We can play the Falcons, Ravens, Bears, Texans, Jags, Chiefs, Jets, Eagles, Seahawks, Niners, Titans, Commandos, or any of the holiday teams we want to burn. All right, week 8.
Giants at Seattle.
Oh, which side are you taking?
That is a disgusting act.
That's mean.
And you said we're saving the Patriots, right?
I mean, they have the Jets, don't they?
I mean, if you were going to pick a spot on the Cowboys, it was probably this week against the Bears in week 8 in their building.
Thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, I'm
not opposed to that.
Yeah. What about Cardinals at Vikings?
Road. What are you doing?
Road.
I think maybe we burn. I think it's the Patriots hosting. No, they're at Jets. So it's not the Patriots. This is the game. Yeah.
Do we use the Eagles at home against the Steelers? That could be a tough game.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go do Cowboys.
I think let's burn the Cowboys. We're not going to play on Thanksgiving anyway.
No.
Against the Giants. And we're fading the Bears. We're doing it right still. Week 9. I mean, Arizona is one of the holiday teams. They are hosting I guess divisional game. Maybe we stay away from it.
Is Buffalo one of the holiday games?
Buffalo is probably the holiday game we're playing because they're playing the Lions on Thanksgiving. So I think we probably want to hold on to them.
Arizona hosting Seattle.
Yeah, divisional spot, but I do
it's think at home.
That's a good angle, I think. And there's not much else this week, so
everything else looks competitive.
Decent amount.
We already picked the Chargers, right?
Yep, Chargers are off the board.
Okay.
All right. Let's take the Cardinals. We're losing the Cardinals for Christmas. We're going to take them against the Seahawks here before Kyler falls off. Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Week 10. We have we're not using the Bills. The Lions are in Chicago. So if we're ever going to play the Bears, Bears are probably just a complete trash team. We have other home spots that are attractive. The Chiefs, maybe this is the week we play them against the Jags.
Oh yeah.
Giants hosting Texans.
You like the Giants?
Yeah.
So we would be completely burning the Cowboys Giants game on Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fine.
Ravens are have the bye week this week.
Yeah, Ravens we still have, but we don't need to play this week.
I don't know. Chiefs.
Do we still have Philly?
Yeah,
We have Philly.
I mean, it's a division game. They're hosting Washington.
Carson Wentz coming back.
Yeah,
into town.
he's not playing.
Crack under pressure.
He's not playing in that game.
I actually think that's a great spot. It's Monday night. They'll get up for that game.
So we're saying that we're either playing the Giants at home against the Texans, the Eagles at home against the Commandos, or the Chiefs at home. Chiefs have the Jags at home this week. The other times we might play them would be hosting the Seahawks week 16.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better spot for them.
Yeah,
So
and they have the
that.
Chargers the following week, so it could be a look ahead spot for them.
Okay, so it sounds like we all agree that it's. Do you like the Giants or the Eagles better this week?
Me? I'm gonna go Eagles. We'll let Munaf decide.
Is there a spot for the Eagles after week 10? I know you said that. I think they're hosting Seahawks.
They host the Saints and the Giants towards the end of the season. They have a Titan. They host the Titans. Now this is the time to play it. Carson Wentz isn't playing in this game. I'm with Sean. There's no way.
It's a Monday night.
Eagles.
They have a lot of road games and
Week 11. So wait, is this Thanksgiving? No, Thanksgiving's the following week. So we're getting close to Thanksgiving. So we'll have an idea of some extra teams we can potentially use. Week 11, home games. The Falcons host the Bears, worth noting. The Ravens host the Panthers.
Yeah. This is the time to use the Ravens, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Other times we would consider the Ravens have the Falcons later in the year and the Steelers, but I'm good with it. Let's not overthink it.
Yeah, Ravens would be coming off the bye as well.
Yeah, they'll be fresh. John Harbaugh in the preseason, Harbaugh off the bye. Lock it up. All right, Thanksgiving. I mean, we
go Buffalo.
Just go Buffalo. This is why we saved them, right?
Yeah.
Bills at Lions, Giants at Cowboys. We already used Cowboys.
Patriots at. We could fade Kirk Cousins in prime time, but
I mean, I'm
Joe Judge calling plays.
I'm gonna be betting. Yeah. Well, now it sounds like Patricia, but I'm gonna be betting Patriots.
Bills.
But Bills. Lions aren't good on Thanksgiving either.
All right, so all right, Lions. The rest of Week 12 now. So now we have released the Lions are now available to us, as are the Vikings and the Patriots. Not this week, but going forward. The Dolphins host the Texans.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Dolphins.
The Jets host the Bears, and I mean the Niners host the Saints. The Commandos host the Falcons. We haven't played them.
I don't mind using the Niners here.
Against
Niners
the
against Saints.
I think the Dolphins spot's better, but they're a Christmas team.
Oh,
Who is?
The Dolphins.
I guess.
I think this is going to be the look ahead spot for the Texans because I have the Browns next week.
Oh, you're right. Okay, then I like that. I forgot if they got Deshaun Watson coming to town the next week, that's a look ahead spot. You're right.
So what?
And then
Dolphins?
I would go Texans week 13.
I like it.
Wait, hold on. I was reading. I was just pulling up the Christmas Day games, just to remind us. Green Bay at Miami, Denver at the Rams, Bucks at the Cardinals. Tough slate. We might have to go with the road team. All right. So what game are we going for week 13? Or sorry, week 12? What do we lock in?
I think we said Miami. No.
Yep.
What you want to say for Christmas?
Well, would we play Miami hosting the Packers?
No,
on Christmas.
I wouldn't.
No.
So let's take them. All right. I am high on the Texans. I might need them to win that game. Week 13, notable suck teams. I mean, the Packers are in Chicago. We have not. The Packers could be what we use for Christmas.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind saving them.
Which I think Christmas is coming up here.
I think Munaf nailed it. Texans are kind of interesting.
This is like we are already talking about this game down here with the return of Deshaun Watson. Or you could probably go Minnesota if we haven't used them yet.
So the Texans, the only other time we would use the Texans because they have a ton of they play.
Vikings at home, non-conference against the Jets.
So, but the Texans play the Jags week 17. That's the only other time we might fire on them. We obviously don't have to fire on them, but
I don't mind using the Vikings here. Although
Vikings
I like
home against the Jets.
Texans do get up for that.
Wait, no, we're definitely playing the Vikings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Week 14. Jets have the Bills, so we can't fade them. The Seahawks are at home, so we can't really, probably not the best time to fade them. Detroit hosting Minnesota, coming off that Jets win.
Cincinnati, we haven't. Oh no, we can't use them.
Yeah, we shouldn't use them.
Rams, we can't use either. This is a tricky week.
Giants host the Eagles. That's got to be on the radar. This
is a tough week.
So the games that I would look to.
I think this was a week to use Dallas, but we already used Dallas hosting Texans coming off that game against the Browns.
We took the Cowboys against the Bears
early. Yeah.
So we would have to redo week 8 to play them now. Anything else stand out to you? I mean,
we already used Baltimore, right?
Yep.
And Tampa. And
Titans. What about Titans at home against the Jags? We haven't used the Titans yet.
Yeah.
That feels like a decent spot. I know it's a division.
Could that be
game,
a Malik Willis game?
It's true.
Seahawks host the Panthers.
God, that's ugly.
I think we take the Titans this week.
Yeah.
I mean, the Titans should be able to win a home game against the Jags. All right, week 15. Is this Christmas?
No, week before Christmas.
All right, so we got the Jets. Are they on a bye this week?
No, they're playing at home against the Lions.
Ooh. Do we take the Lions this week? Oh no, the Lions are on the road.
No.
That. The Chiefs are on the road in Houston.
Yeah, I think that would be the spot.
Or 49ers on the road in Seattle Thursday night.
Trying to play a road division game?
No, you're right. I mean, I like Chiefs here a lot.
Chiefs against the Texans, yeah.
Any other games worth mentioning? Saints hosting the Falcons.
We already used the Saints.
You're right.
49ers in Seattle. I mean, that's a Thursday night game, though. That's a bad spot.
Yeah, that could.
Seattle.
Now that I think about it, anything could happen there.
All right. So then, is that the final answer? The Commandos host the Giants. That's another one. No,
for the Commandos.
For the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm just throwing stuff out.
No,
I'd probably go Chiefs here.
All right,
with 3 weeks left. Yeah.
Jags host the Cowboys if we want to get frisky. We might. So the Chiefs have Seattle in weeks 16. So first we got to do Christmas though. So Christmas is part of week 16. Green Bay, right? It is. Yeah, this is what we saved Green Bay for, right?
Yeah, or Bucks. We haven't used Bucks.
Bucks, yeah. Tampa, we haven't used.
Bucks have the Panthers at home in week 17.
All right, 17's fine because they'll still probably be playing. It's a division game, but yeah, I like. Well, let's use Packers here,
and then Bucks next week.
All right, so
we still have to do another week 16 game.
Yeah, so we need.
Okay.
Yeah, Packers.
Sorry.
We have. What else do we have?
Have we used San Francisco yet?
Can I revisit?
Nope.
They're hosting the Commandos.
That's a great spot for them.
Hold on. Real quick. Can we just take a step back?
Nope.
Broncos were hosting the Cardinals last week when we took the Chiefs on the road versus the Texans. Do we want to revisit that and then just take the Chiefs week 16 against the Seahawks at home?
I like taking the 49ers here at home against the Commanders.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we got it dialed in.
All right. Week 17.
So who do we have left?
Well, we have. This is where we wanted to use Tampa Bay against the Panthers, right?
Yep.
Yep.
It's fallen into place like the Rubik's
I
Cube.
mean, there's no way we're not playing this when we're out there.
Week 18.
We give them the $1,000. We play this, barring some insane changes.
Okay, so if if I have everything marked down right, we still have the Falcons. We still have
the Bucks.
We still have the Bears. We still have the Broncos. We still have the Lions. We still have the Texans. We still have the Jags. We still have the Patriots. We have the Giants. We have the Jets. We have the Seahawks. And we have the Commandos, who host the Cowboys.
All right. Let's see.
We didn't give ourselves a great out week 18.
No. But we could always go back and swap one of these.
But New England's in Buffalo, so I would probably. I don't know
Yeah.
if they're going to be playing for anything. Are the Buffalo Bills at that point? I don't think so.
The Bucks play the Falcons. Don't know if the Bucks will be playing for anything.
Steelers. Do we use Pittsburgh, right?
We use Pittsburgh.
Okay. What about Lions? And we just assume Packers are resting their starters.
Well, that's so we've saved ourselves the teams that are playing the Bucks, the Packers, the Colts.
Do we take the Falcons with the idea
Titans.
that they're going to be resting their starters?
No, but listen to this: the Colts and I mean, there's a number of.
No, we used the Titans, didn't we? Or no?
No. We have the Jags. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jags are hosting Titans.
My take, and then the Rams. We have the Seahawks who are playing the Rams. So we have
the Rams were not trying to play. Right?
No, I know, but what I'm saying is the projected top 3 seeds in the NFC: the Bucks, the Rams, and the Packers. We have the teams who will be playing them.
Of these, I would say, Falcons are kind of interesting.
You would think that the Bucks would have the division wrapped up at that point.
Yeah.
Who is the most likely team to be sitting their starters? I think it's the Packers. I think the Packers have done it before, although they lost last year coming off the bye.
Packers lost last year to the Lions in the last game of the season, but that was in Detroit. This is at home. Now, if we're taking Seattle or Falcons, we have a home game against the Rams or the Bucks.
See, I would actually Pete Carroll's final game. The Rams don't need it. I actually think the Commandos is the play. They play the Cowboys well at home. They're gonna. The Cowboys might be trash by the end of the year, dude.
Yeah, we might have a decent quarterback in for the Commanders, and it's a division game. And well, put it this way: we know the Commanders, regardless of whether they're eliminated or Cowboys, this could be their Super Bowl. The Commanders, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the only spot that makes sense, because if we're not using the Rams or the Bengals, then because Rams are in Seattle, but they might not have anything to play for either.
And fuck Dallas, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a fun cherry on top.
All right, I have some Tetris that we can play. If we said, hey, let's change our Week 12 pick to the Commandos, who are hosting the Falcons. It then saves us the Dolphins, who host the Jets Week 18. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, because I think Miami may be playing for a wild card spot at that point.
I'm gonna.
Right.
If we think
All
we're
right, we
going to
can
be
swap
good.
that out.
And it unfades the Texans. So we're gonna take Commandos Week 12, and we're gonna take Miami Week 18 against the Jets. We did it, and we only had one scribble out of pen. Teams we did not play: Seahawks, Jets, Giants, Patriots, Rams, Jags, Texans, Lions, Broncos. That's surprising. Bengals, Bears, and Falcons.
Yeah, my only regret is
not taking the Broncos Week 7 against the Jets.
Yep.
That would have saved us the Raiders. unclear where we would have played them. Maybe against the Patriots later in the season. That's
You said the Raiders.
Yeah. So had we played the Broncos against the Jets, we would have had the Raiders, but they don't really have any other spots that stand out as they're like as smash spots. So.
I think it was like the week that they were hosting the Texans. I forgot which week that was.
That was it's the same week that the Broncos played the Jets. So.
All right, we figured it out. We're gonna win the Circa Survivor 6. Well, no, we're gonna get the $7 million.
I'm definitely playing. Just so everyone knows, I'm playing this in the SGP Survivor contest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, hit up the SGP Survivor contest. Play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. No, we gotta actually play this in the Circa Survivor. Okay. We'll get with Munaf. We'll play this.
Done.
Right? Because
sounds like a plan.
We don't want to be the idiots who crack the NFL Survivor contest on air on a podcast.
I did say this to start the show. We would have won last year. So yeah, we're definitely playing these picks.
Wait, we would have won last year?
I'm telling you, go back and I'm pretty whether or not it was the one that I figured out and we didn't 100% because it started with the Texans week 1. We didn't play it though.
Well,
we're pussies.
We're making a change this year. Hey, Munaf, thanks for calling in. Give Munaf the Machine Manji a follow on Twitter at SportsNerd824. MLB Gambling Podcast, NFL Gambling Podcast, Propcast. He does it all. And yeah, we'll be hanging out NFL Week 1. Toss us a nice rating review, screenshot it, submit it in the app. Just click contest, and you get a chance to win a $50 SGPN gift card every Monday, aka Merch Monday.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
Sean, we did it.
Kramer, let it ride.